English and Chinese sentences have different structures and different word orders. The translator often has to decide whether to keep the original word order or to change it, to divide a long sentence into two or more shorter ones, or to combine two or more shorter sentences into a longer one. First of all, let's talk about changing the word order. I'd like to show you a translation and a comment on this translation. As you can see in the picture, table of contents is translated into 表的内容. This is the comment. This is wrong. It should be 内容的表, because the English word order should be reversed when translated into Chinese. The translation is a joke. The comment is a joke too. The problem is not with the word order, but I'm glad that this student at least knows that English word order and Chinese word order are different, and word order often needs to be changed in translation. Word order refers to the order in which components of a sentence are arranged. This order reflects the grammar, usage, and ways of thinking adopted by users of a language. English speakers and Chinese speakers have different habits in using their respective languages. Although the order of the subject, the predicate, and the object is basically the same in English and in Chinese, the positions of the attributes, adverbials, and other components are often different. Different language users also have different ways of thinking, which results in different logic in different languages. The translator may need to change the word order according to the way of expression that the target language readers are accustomed to. In this lesson, we're going to look at some examples of changing the word order. The first example. Even Lind Archer, the new school teacher, who had come late that afternoon all the way from Yellow Post with Indian mail carrier and must be hungry, was waiting. The main clause of this long sentence is, even Lind Archer was waiting. Between the subject and the object are two attributive clauses, the first of which is very long. If we keep the word order, the translation would be like this. 就连林德阿彻新来的老师，那天下午很晚和印度邮差一起大老远从耶洛邮局赶来，一定饿了，也在等。This Chinese sentence is not grammatically correct. What modify the subject are two clauses. We can change the clauses into attributes and move them before the subject, like this. 就连新来的那天下午很晚和印度邮差一起大老远从耶洛邮局赶来的，一定饿的了老师林的阿彻也在等。I couldn't breathe reading it. The attributes are super long and awkward. Although this time the grammar is correct. Maybe we can try putting the two clauses between dashes or parentheses, like this. 就连林德阿彻，他是新来的老师，那天下午很晚和印度邮差一起大老远从耶洛邮局赶来，因此一定饿了，也在等。This translation is better, but it reads a bit foreign, and the subject is too far away from the object. We can also consider changing the word order and translate the sentence like this. 就连新来的老师林德阿彻也在等，他那天下午很晚才和印度邮差一起大老远的从耶洛邮局赶来，因此一定饿了。We translate the main clause first, and then the subordinate clauses. This sentence is correct in grammar, clear in meaning, and idiomatic in expression. The second example. He also names successors to Charles Wheeler, the young lions and lionesses, the energy you see from Matt Frey or Robert Paston, Mark Maddell, John Simpson, Nick Robinson. In this sentence, young lions and lionesses refer to Matt Frey, Robert Paston, and others who are mentioned later. This sentence says that from them we can see energy. Now that we're clear about the grammar and logic of this sentence, we can translate the examples first, and then translate the summary of what is common in all these people. 他还提到了继承查尔斯·惠勒精神的男勇士和女勇士们，比如新闻主播马特·弗雷、商业编辑罗伯特·佩斯顿、驻欧盟记者马克·马戴尔、国际事务编辑约翰·辛普森、政治编辑尼克·罗宾逊等等。从他们身上可以看到干劲和活力。Because the Chinese readers may not be familiar with these people mentioned in the sentence, the translator uses a technique of addition and adds their positions. The translator also adds 比如 to connect the terms 男勇士和女勇士们 and the examples that follow. The third example. He found it most beautiful, felt most comfortable at this hour, when they often saw raccoons pausing on steps, seemingly tamed, as if owning the territory of the porch. Like the first example, this sentence has a long subordinate clause, which would be awkward to be translated as the adverbial of time. 他发现，当他们看见浣熊在台阶上停顿，好像已被驯顺，仿佛拥有门廊这块领地的时候，是最美的时候，他感到最舒服的时候。When we read the sentence carefully, we notice that the subordinate clause tells when he feels comfortable and also what makes him feel comfortable. We can translate facts first, and then the conclusion. 在这个时候，他们经常看见浣熊在台阶上略作停顿，好像已被驯顺，仿佛他们拥有门廊这块领地。他发现这是最美的时候，也是他感到最舒服的时候。The fourth example. In Europe, human trafficking has reached epidemic proportions, spurred on by the collapse of communism, enlargement of the European Union, and implementation of Schengen Agreement, which relaxed border controls in 25 countries. This sentence tells us the result first, and then talks about the three causes. We can keep the original word order and translate the sentence into 在欧洲，人口贩卖到了猖獗的程度，这是由于共产主义解体。We can also translate this sentence according to the Chinese habit. That is, we tell the causes first, and then the result. 在欧洲，由于共产主义国家解体，欧盟扩张，申根协议生效后，25个国家取消了相互之间的边境控制，人口贩卖已经到了猖獗的程度。The fifth example. 8 days after January 12th, earthquake in Haiti, Dunic, a green beret, and a veteran of 911, knew that time was running out for any survivors still clinging to life under the ruins. Without changing the word order, the translation is 1月12日海地地震8天之后，杜尼克、绿色贝雷帽成员和911老兵知道时间对于废墟下顽强求生的幸存者正在流失。This translation makes sense, but it is not closely knit, and it doesn't flow well. The part that modifies Dunic, 绿色贝雷帽成员和911老兵 is a bit too long, and inserted between the subject Dunic and the predicate knew, it forms a gap between them. Such is also the case with time and running. We need to change the word order to tighten the structure of the Chinese translation. Let's try this. 杜尼克是绿色贝雷帽美国特种部队成员，也是参加911事件救援工作的老兵。他知道，当时距1月12日海地发生地震已经过去了8天，对于仍在废墟下顽强求生的幸存者来说，宝贵的时间正一点一点地流失。In this translation, we tell who Dunic, the rescuer, is, and then tell how he assesses the situation according to his experience. All relevant information is put together. The meaning is very clear. The language is fluent. We also notice some additions in the translation. The Chinese readers may not know what green beret is, so the translator adds an explanation in the parentheses. The meaning of 911老兵, a direct translation of a veteran of 911, is not very clear, so the translator translates it into 参加911救援工作的老兵 to make the meaning explicit. One more addition is made to time was running out. The original translation, 时间正在流失, is correct and clear, but the revised version, 时间正在一点一点地流失, emphasizes the rescuers' feeling of helplessness when they know that time is running out for the survivors who are dying because they cannot find them. Reading this sentence, we feel as if we were looking at the hands of the clock, moving slowly but irretrievably, as if life is leaving the people buried under the debris. In many cases, we change the word order because the sentence is long and the many components are not arranged in the same way as the counterparts would be in a Chinese sentence. However, it is not only the translation of long sentences that may involve the technique of changing the word order. We may need to use this technique when translating some short sentences too. For example, he reveled in this room, the tiny desks, the smell of books. We can translate the sentence into 他陶醉于这个房间小巧的书桌和书香。陶醉于 is a commonly used Chinese expression. In the translation, the part that follows the expression is a bit too long. We can change the word order so that the Chinese sentence becomes 这间屋子，这里小巧的桌子和书香都令他陶醉。In this translation, we talk about what he reveled in first. Add the word though to sum up the list of things, and then say 令他陶醉. Thus, this sentence is balanced. Let's look at one more example. 左碑于永乐22年2月1424年立，碑文由朱棣亲自撰写，上面详细说明了他建造大报恩寺的设想，目的是为了报父母大恩，是研究大报恩寺的重要史料。朱棣在写完碑文的5个月后，就驾崩在北征蒙古的路上，可以说这是朱棣留在大报恩寺的最后一处印记。This example comprises two sentences, the first of which is very long. Let's analyze the two sentences before we translate them. The first sentence makes 2 points. First, the inscriptions on the stele were written by Zhu Di himself. Second, the inscriptions are important for the study of the Grand Baoan Temple. Why are they important? The reason is given in the second sentence, that is, they were the last imprint of Zhu Di on the temple. Why were they his last imprint? The reason is given in the first sentence, that is, he died soon after he wrote them. After this analysis, we are clear about 2 things. First, although no words are used in the source language to reveal the logical relationship between the different parts of the sentences, the cause and effect relationship is clearly there. Second, the effect is given in the first sentence, but the causes that lead to the effect are scattered in 2 sentences, so that the cause and effect chain is broken. In our translation, therefore, we can change the word order to make clear the logical relationship and to rearrange the cause and effect chain. This is the English translation. The inscriptions on the stele on the left, erected in February 1424, were written by Zhu Di himself. They explain that the Grand Baoan Temple was built to express its gratitude to his parents. He died on the punitive expedition against the Mongolians 5 months after he wrote the words. These words were the last imprint of Zhu Di on the temple and are important information for the study of the temple. Now we have learned the technique of changing the word order. In the next lesson, we're going to look at examples of keeping the word order.